Legion of Superheroes issue 5, which
Took Pete half an hour to read.
it was a lot of words. There was a lot of
It took me 3 sessions. I started reading it 2 days ago, and so on Thursday, and I finished it this morning. So yeah, and not because I wasn't enjoying it. It's just it's a lot to take in, and I just with all the words I needed a break, you know. So
the back half of this where John goes back into the orientation, and we get more flashbacks explaining this dawn of the Legion of Superheroes, and how they came to the point of going to get him, and why, like, you know, Brainiac 5, because there's three of them, and then they go get Brainiac 5, and Brainiac 5 is like, oh yeah, there's some sort of thing like
coming,
threatening reality, which and it's to do with Superman's time, that if they don't survive it in their time, then we won't exist, so blah blah blah. We have to get John Kent, yada yada. That stuff flowed really well, and it was kind of like back to what I really liked about the last issue, kind of really establishing some of this stuff and who some of these characters are and how the origin of this is. The first half, where there was, you know, dozens of characters talking at each other as they're trying to figure out, like, you know, why R.J. Brand set in the police force to, like, sort of detain them and whatnot. Like, I got the point of a lot of it, don't get me wrong, but like it was so wordy. It was so many characters talking.
And he's not here for me to say this. I finally understand what Connor doesn't like about Bendis. Because a lot of this could have been done, you know, more efficiently than with a bunch of words. And there's a panel with Brainiac. I can't remember what part it happens at. I didn't know where, because of the way the layout went, I didn't know what part to read because I was just overwhelmed by the speech bubbles. And usually you can follow them, right?
Yeah.
And here it went from the top right corner back down to the bottom left corner. But yeah, it was too much at one point. But, you know, that said, I really enjoyed what I read. I liked them, you know, deciding that they need to be the Legion, and like, because RJ Brand tells the original three, like, there was a time where we had superheroes and all of that, and that I don't want just a league, I want a legion. You know, that was real fun to see the Legion come together like that.
The first chunk was a bit more rough to read, just because there was so many characters, and like, just slow down a little bit, maybe make it a bit simpler. The back half, though, which was again more of this flashback stuff, as John was seeing it, I thought worked really well, and again further established kind of who these characters were, how they came together, and what the threat is that they're kind of building to, the reason why they wanted John in the first place. So all that stuff, that was solid. That said, though, even that did have, like, there was a page where Brainiac 5 is explaining this threat, and I thought that was one of the worst pages in the book, just because there was so much dialogue coming from it. Ultimately felt like it was just fluff that could have been summed up really quickly. But
more efficiently. I do like, though, that Bendis had kind of introduced the fact that he is a nerd for this stuff because of his 12th level intellect. It's this era of superheroes. He really has a thing. So that's for me going forward. That's the key to John being able to converse with Brainiac 5. You know, to go through all this, and I also like the stuff with Chameleon Boy, because, you know, RJ Brand being, I think in the original, RJ Brand adopts him, and then you come to find out that he's Darlin and whatnot. So the fact here that RJ Brand is his mother, and that he's a little bit too close for this, so Brainiac needs to pick his brain and figure out what is going on with RJ Brand. Why this would change. I really like that aspect.
Yeah, here. And the whole standoff is basically them saying, look, you're not equipped to actually fight the Legion of Superheroes, so maybe back off and reconsider what's happening. The book ends with Saturn Girl coming out to talk to John after he's seen this, and he's like, you know, back when you came back to get me on Unification Day, you never, like, you know, said that there was this threat or anything. And she says, yeah, because that wasn't for them, because all those leaders of all those worlds, they couldn't handle that information. This information is just for you. And then an alert goes off saying they have to evacuate Earth. So we'll see why they have to evacuate Earth. But it's something to do with the Trident, because two of them go off to find Aquaman's Trident, which they've been looking for. So A lot of stuff going on, and for the most part, I'm still enjoying it. But it is a little bit overwhelming. Yeah. The first half of this issue, especially.
Yeah.
Which was a bit of a shame because I felt last issue was finally the one that really felt like it wasn't doing that at all to me. And the back half of the issue was more of that. It was just the first half was very much kind of the oh god, too many people.
Yeah. And I do like too. I don't remember what part it happened in. The fact that it's kind of gotten so bad in this future because of all those splits in Earth, right? They were already there before, and now when Earth actually split apart, it made those divisions worse. So I kind of like Bendis' commentary there, right? That these divides are only going to keep getting worse. And you need people like the Legion of Superheroes to bridge those divisions.
I don't think I said at the start who was on the book. Obviously, Bendis is writing. But Ryan Sook isn't alone this time. Scott Godlewski's also doing some art.
Yep.
You can tell, but Godlewski's kind of doing his best to kind of fit Sook's style. So it's not too jarring when it happens.
Sook's doing the first half stuff, right? Not the Legion history, and then Godlewski I think is doing the Legion history.
I think
so. Yeah,
and
there's subtle differences there.
And this book was delayed by a week or two, so this is probably why they had to get another artist in to help finish it.
I don't necessarily think it's that. I think it was a letterer couldn't keep up. So
lucky it just snuck in this week, aren't you?
Yeah, right. So, but no, I really enjoyed it. It's still Legion that I enjoy, and again, Brainiac saying that those divisions are why the Legion's here.
It's so funny. They had to delay.
Really liked it.
Obviously, the next two issues is a knock-on effect. This one going back, and now I'm thinking, well, technically, like with everything being pushed back, probably, like they don't have to actually move week now. They could just be on their original week. That was pretty good though, for the record. Even if it's not as completely consistent as the previous issues. Matt, what are you giving Legion of Superheroes issue 5?
Despite it taking me 3 sessions to read, I mostly enjoyed what I read. So I'm gonna give this an 8.
Yeah, I'm going to go with a 7, just because it was a bit more of a chore to actually get through, even if I liked a lot of it and what it was doing.
Yep.
But if I'm feeling like if it's an effort to read, then something's not completely clicking. So I'll give it the 7. Go a little bit lower.